This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, under our series 9 Years of NDA Government, now we bring you a discussion on government schemes for agriculture and farmers' welfare. The participants are Harveer Singh, agriculture expert, and Arjun J. Chaudhary, Akashvani correspondent.
I'm joined by Shri Harveer ji, with whom we'll discuss about the 9 years of the NDA government's involvement in agriculture. We'll discuss about what the government schemes are for agriculture and what they have done for farmers' welfare. So do tell us a brief about what have been the schemes and how have the farmers benefited from the welfare schemes of the government.
In my opinion, agriculture sector is doing reasonably well as a economic activity and is part of our overall economy. It's a very strong sector and contributing economically, socially also, and to provide job opportunities of the big section of the society. So on these areas, and growth is satisfactory. This last year also it was 3.5% growth of agriculture sector. And it is possible due to many factors, like as you mentioned, that some initiatives and schemes announced by the government. One important scheme is basically this direct benefit transfer to the farmers in the name of Prime Minister Kisan Samman Nidhi. Government is providing rupees 6,000 per annum to almost 9 crore of the farmers, and the majority of those farmers are small and marginal farmers. It has a big financial support to these farmers. Another important aspect is that government announced a formula of a minimum support price that farmer will have additional income on the cost. It is A2 plus FL plus 50%. So government has basically accepted and implement this way. Otherwise, earlier CACP used to announce based on its formula, but when there is a system to calculate the cost as well as the benefit over and above that, and in some cases given very good results. If I can say about pulses, government increased the MSP for pulses in a big way in the last few years, and on pulses we used to import almost half of our requirement. But due to the continuous good increase and incentive for as MSP plus bonus for pulses, and to support through price support scheme to procure pulses, to give basically to assure farmer that your produce will also be procured and you will get the right price. Our production has gone up to 23 million ton. And edible oil also, we have done this on oil seeds. Government increased MSP, substantial increased for mustard particularly. And our mustard production has gone up to, I think that this last financial year, it is reaching at 128 lakh ton, which was 6-7 years back just around 70 lakh ton. It's a big jump. So on the other hand, we have seen many changes on the positive side for this crop insurance scheme. It has become now more practical and basically good for the farmers. So to decide the crop value and finance value based on a particular district for a crop, and this crop cutting experience, use of technology to settle the claim of the farmers in case of there is a calamity or some natural wrong thing happen to the crop. So I think to mitigate the loss, it is good for the farmer in that way. And if you go to other areas like other than crop, allied sector like dairy, basically enhance the capacity of processing in dairy sector. Dairy infrastructure fund is doing well. So, and production is increasing. We have touched at 220 million ton of milk production. We are the largest producer of milk in the world, and the value of milk production has surpassed the value of the overall food grain. It means that farmers, those dairy farmers, are getting that equal income from dairy sector. And in fisheries, there is a growth of 6%, which is much more than any other commercial or food grain growth. And this Matsya Sampada Yojana is good for the farmer for this below revolution. So in totality, we have to look crops and the allied sector altogether and how farmers are getting benefit out of that.
Well, we know that the soil and the weather are other stakeholders in agriculture. El Nino is a cause of concern right now. How do you see the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana and the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sinchai Yojana and the National Groundwater Management Improvement Scheme actually ensure that the farmer is protected despite the challenges of El Nino, the overheating and the loss of productivity?
Irrigation is most important input for agricultural production. So almost equal to seed, because still we have almost 50% of our crop area depending on rainfall or monsoon. Our assured irrigation area is less than 50%. So in that case, this Pradhan Mantri Sinchai Yojana, more crop per drop, to give incentive to the farmers for using new technology for irrigation, because through drip and sprinkler irrigation, you saves a lot of water almost. If you irrigate a field, traditional flooding system, and the water you will use through this modern technological route will save almost 80 to 90% of the water. So even with less water available, you can get more crop. And soil health card definitely is important, because it gives an idea about particular field, the quality of the soil, what kind of nutrient are there, what kind of nutrient deficient is soil, so that farmer can use that nutrient to add in the field for a better crop if he knows. And through soil testing, farmers are able to know what is the requirement of the soil. So at the same time, we also need more and more customized fertilizer, so that farmers can get full benefit of this technology. And one important thing is that now this modern technological use like information technology, IoT, Internet of Things, and AI in agriculture, day to day it is getting increased, and more startups and even government agencies like our research system, scientists are working on that and using that. It will be more beneficial, because you are talking about rainfall and El Nino. So I think in last few years, we have improved a lot on forecasting the rainfall and monsoon, because new radars deployed and in large number. I think very huge improvement on forecasting. Definitely, monsoon is a natural thing, and we can make farmers aware whether rainfall will happen or not, whether drought is coming or not. But at the same time, we can predict better, but some things are not in our hand. It's a natural thing, like you were talking about El Nino, and this year El Nino probability is very strong. And you must be aware that when this Pacific area, when sea surface temperature goes up more than 5% of the average, so it affects this thing. More rain happens in southern America, that side, and less in Pacific, this side, west side of like Australia and Indonesia, and it affects our southwest monsoon. So the probability between, as per America's National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's latest report says that probability between May and June, 3 months, is 62%, June and August is 75%, and July and September 80%. So our monsoon is June-September monsoon. So it is very important, but we have seen since 1951 till now, sometimes there was a strong El Nino, but monsoon was normal. But there are some incidents also when El Nino was strong and we faced the drought. So let's wait when our India Meteorological Department will release second forecast sometime in June because recently, 2 days back, they announced about monsoon will be delayed by 4 days when it will hit the Kerala coast. So, but we have to wait for that. But at the same time, it is good that we can forecast timely. We can inform the farmers to take the right call, whether they short duration crop or they should go for late sowing or they should go for alternate crop. That's why here comes the role of crop insurance scheme. So under the scheme now, farmers are allowed to change the crop up to a certain period. So if he has sown some crop and it's not good rainfall, so you want to go to another crop, he can go for that. So these things are important. One important thing is that agricultural credit is also very important. At a concessional rate, farmers get 7%, and if he can pay timely, so he gets another 3% subvention. So the effective rate comes up 4%. So it is very good for the farmers, because definitely financial resources are very important for any farmer like industry.
And can you tell us the role of ICAR in developing high-yielding and drought-tolerant varieties of crops to mitigate this kind of risk that we're talking about, say, for instance, for rice, maize, and sorghum, in order to ensure that productivity levels are consistent year in, year out, as the government has maintained for the last 9 years?
Yes, our production not only maintained, we are going for record production, and despite basically some problem on the climate issue, like last year we have seen sudden temperature increase in second half of the March, and which affected the wheat crop. So now definitely our scientists in the ICAR system, they are continuously working to develop new varieties. Like they have developed a variety of wheat which can be sown little early and it will get matured around late February, and if temperature goes up, so it will not affect the production, and yield is also very good, around 6 ton. So definitely in some varieties we get yield of up to 7 ton for wheat. So now we have like in palm millet, we have some fortified varieties with iron and zinc, more nutrient are there. So definitely continuously our scientists are working. Challenges are also big because we must accept that there is a more and more incident of extreme weather or climate change kind of things. We have seen very long spell of rainfall this year in March, which affected the farmers' mature crop. But 2 years back we have seen a gap in monsoon season or rainfall gap almost for 3 weeks. So these things where if, as you said, that is drought tolerant varieties. So if there is a stress on the crop and with little bit irrigation facilities, crop can survive. So definitely it is important, but there is also a need to use more and more technological advancement. Government last year allowed to use gene editing technology, which will not come under GMO, so that scientists can develop a new variety with more accuracy, and they can shorten the process for developing a new variety. So these things are very important. The technological advancement and use of new technology is also important for agricultural development for the country.
There is also the dependency on subsidy by farmers, including fertilizer. How is this now being handled in the last 9 years to ensure that the farmer gets the benefit of this particular input at the right price so that productivity is not in any way affected? And there is obviously income for the farmer as well, because there's an investment by the farmer into all the inputs that go into crop production.
In my opinion, fertilizer is the most crucial input material for the farmers. And definitely because we have a lot of dependency on import of fertilizer in the from the international market. And in fact, we all imports almost 10 million ton of urea and around the same quantity of other fertilizers, and fertilizer like DAP is very crucial. This decontrolled fertilizer, these fertilizers are like complex fertilizer and MOP and DAP, these fertilizers. So either we have to import the raw material or we import the ready fertilizer. And we have seen in the last 2 years very big spike in the price of this fertilizer. That was very crucial. We have to make fertilizer available to the farmer. We have to ensure basically the supply from the export countries to our country so that we can make the fertilizer available to the farmers and the right price. So in that case, government increased the subsidy. Huge subsidy increase happened last year, particularly when prices were touching like DAP prices crossed $1,000 per ton. Even urea touched almost $1,000 per ton. So in that case, government ensured that there is no increase of price for urea for farmers, as well as for a long time government kept DAP prices within this 1,200 rupees per bag of 50 kg. Now it is 1,350 rupees per bag of 50 kg, but subsidy crossed more than 50,000 rupees per ton in case of DAP. So that was very important. Two crucial points, and immediately when there was a huge price rise in the international market, then in February 22, this Russia-Ukraine war also started. And you know that Russia and Belarus, very important supplier of fertilizer to the world, particularly phosphoric and potassic fertilizer. So there was disturbance on supply chain due to the war kind of situation, and the cost also went up for even freight. But despite that, government made all kind of efforts, tried to find out more supply from the substitute countries, those who can supply like Saudi Arabia or other countries, and that was very important, and without any major increase of the fertilizer prices. That was very important. Big relief to the farmers.
Thank you so much, Harveer, for talking to us at length of the government's effort in the last 9 years to ensure that schemes for agriculture are successful and farmers' welfare is kept in mind. And of course, let's not forget the consumer, who is not affected by inflationary prices. That has been kept under control as well.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on government schemes for agriculture and farmers' welfare. The participants were Harveer Singh, agriculture expert, and Arjun J. Chaudhary, Akashvani correspondent. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsdtalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 9289094044.